she said. Thanks for the empty envelope. After I gave her $10,000 for her baby shower. You still need to cover the cake, she smirked. I replied, sure, then stepped outside, made 2 quiet calls, and sent 1 email. Confirmed. Proceed as discussed. The next morning, I had 53 missed calls and 1 message. LOL if this is about yesterday. I was obviously joking. My name is Caleb. I'm 31. Oldest kid, designated driver. The person who knows where the spare keys are and which light switch in my parents' kitchen doesn't do anything. I work in finance operations at a small logistics company. Budgets, invoices, the unglamorous math that keeps trucks moving. I rent a simple 2-bedroom with a view of an alley and a stubborn plant that refuses to die. In my family, I'm the responsible one, which over time turned into the sponge. When someone says, can you float it until Friday? They look at me. My sister, Tessa, is 28 and the gravitational center. She's loud and funny and posts, big announcement soon, every 6 weeks. She has that easy sparkle that makes people believe checks will appear if she smiles at the bank. Mom calls her our dreamer. Dad calls her a handful, with a laugh that means he's proud of every handful. I'm not jealous. I'm tired. The baby shower was at a rented event space behind a cafe that sells 5 kinds of iced tea and a cake that looks like it's wearing a wedding dress. Lavender napkins. Rose gold balloons that spelled out baby even though one bee kept deflating, so it read pay every 10 minutes like a prophecy. I carried in cases of sparkling water, then 4 trays of mini quiches, then a box of favors shaped like ducks. People kept telling me to just enjoy and then handing me tasks. I'm good at tasks. 2 days earlier, I'd wired Tessa $10,000. It wasn't spontaneous. She told me a month back that she and Nate, her boyfriend, now fiancé, depending on the post, were overwhelmed. We didn't realize how much a baby costs, she said, like inflation was a mean joke. I told her I'd help. I didn't tell anyone else. It was a gift, not a stage. At the shower, when it was time for cards, Tessa picked up my envelope, plain white, my handwriting on the front, and held it up. From my big brother, she sang. Mom clapped. Aunt Joy took a photo like it was a first day of school sign. Tessa slid a finger under the flap, opened it, glanced at the note I'd written, short and practical, for whatever you need, no strings, and said, loud enough for the room to quiet. Thanks for the empty envelope. Someone laughed. Someone else gasped. I blinked at her. She leaned in, voice low but teeth showing. You still need to cover the cake. It's on hold. I heard a few small sounds at once. The espresso machine in the cafe, a balloon tapping the ceiling, my own pulse doing math, but above everything was her smile. That smile that says, I can say anything and it will be a bit empty, I said, keeping my voice steady. She shrugged, still smiling at the crowd. I'm kidding, she sang to the room. Then, to me, softer, relax. You know how you are. She tapped the envelope against my chest like a prop. Cake. Mom was already talking over us, telling everyone the story of how Tessa had chosen the shower theme because she's always loved lilac. Dad found me with a wink. You know your sister, he said, as if that explained the knife. Don't get sensitive. Nate smirked like he'd practiced it in the mirror. The women at the next table bent toward each other and hummed. I swallowed. I put the envelope back in the stack. I picked up a plate and moved a few deviled eggs around like I was deciding. I did not explain bank wires to anyone. I did not list numbers. I didn't tell the story of savings and the spreadsheet and the name of the account I'd created labeled Baby Tessa. I didn't even look at the cake table. Caleb, can you grab ice? Someone called. Sure, I said automatically. I spent the next half hour being useful. When I set the last drink tub down, Tessa drifted by and said, cheerful as a jingle, don't forget cake pickup at 3. They need the card on file updated. I nodded like a bobblehead. Got it. I smiled. I kept smiling. I smiled while the photographer said one more for the 9th time. I smiled while Dad made a joke about grandpas and naps. I smiled while Mom told me to relax my jaw. I smiled while the balloons sagged into pay again and no one noticed. I didn't make any calls. I didn't send any emails. Not yet. I put on my jacket, stepped outside into the kind of chill that makes a person honest, and stood in a narrow strip of shade between the cafe and a brick wall until my pulse sounded like a person again. Then I went back in and carried 2 more trays and clapped when everyone else clapped. The first trigger had landed. I put it in my pocket and kept moving. People think blow-ups come out of nowhere. They don't. They live inside a long line of smaller things you let slide, because confronting everyone would take your whole life. When I was 9, Tessa broke a neighbor's window with a tennis ball. I apologized. Dad shook the neighbor's hand. Tessa got ice cream because she's just spirited. When I was 11, I lost a library book. I paid for it with allowance and learned about due dates, interest, and personal failure. When Tessa was 15 and backed Dad's sedan into the mailbox, he said, "Cars can be fixed." When I dented the corner of the garage a year later, he said, "That's coming out of your college fund," and laughed like that made it a joke. Money was a character in our house, always present, always moody. We were fine, if we're careful, which meant Mom used coupons and Dad told stories about how he grew up with less. We never asked anyone for help, he'd say, which was mostly true if you don't count how many times he asked me. By high school, I had a savings account, a debit card, and a calendar annotated with when everyone needed me to front something. Gas money for Tessa's practices. A deposit for a retreat Dad forgot about. The family cell plan, just until the bonus hits. If I said no, there was talk of selfishness. If I said yes, it was absorbed into silence like a spill. In college, I came home one break and found out I'd been volunteered as backup guarantor for Tessa's apartment temporarily because we know you're responsible. I was 19. I didn't even see the paperwork. I just learned, as you learn such things, when a bill appeared with my name on it after a roommate moved out. "You're good with this stuff," Mom said, handing me a pen. After graduation, I moved back for a year to save. "Pay what you can," Mom said, which turned into a spreadsheet taped to the fridge with my name next to rent, electric, and grocery supplement. Tessa, then 21, contributed vibes and the occasional bar of artisan soap gifted by a friend. "She's figuring it out," Dad said. "She's got potential." I apparently had potential to pay bills. I got the logistics job in my own place and thought distance would rewrite the pattern. It didn't. The asks arrived at new angles. Tessa needed a bridge for a yoga training. It's basically a certification. You invest in me now and we'll both benefit. Then for a ring upgrade, Nate's idea. He wants it to be special, and he's tight right now. Then for a miracle skincare line she was reselling. Just help with the starter kit. We'll be rolling in it, promise. I grew fluent in a language where just until Friday meant forget it. Even when Tessa earned money, money slipped through her fingers like water. Once, she called from a boutique whispering, "This dress is on sale from $300 to $120, and I have a networking event. Can you sell me?" I said no. She sent back a photo from the event wearing the dress. 2 hours later, Mom texted, "Your sister feels unsupported lately. We have to uplift each other." I stared at the ceiling until the light fixture became a metaphor. There was never one big betrayal with Mom and Dad either, just a pile of little manipulations arranged into furniture. Mom's favorite was, "You know your father worries." Dad's was, "Just be a good son." They weren't cartoon villains. They were normal people who found a quiet vein and kept tapping it because it kept bleeding. When Tessa announced the pregnancy, I was happy. She called me first. "You're going to be an uncle," she whispered from her bathroom floor. I sank onto my own kitchen floor and felt the world rearrange into something softer. We cried for the same reason. For a week, I Venmo'd her for pickles and ginger ale and Uber rides to appointments because she felt dizzy. It felt good to say yes when yes felt like care, not debt. Then the registry went up. It was more of a spreadsheet than a registry. It had tabs: stroller, nursery, birth doula, postpartum meals, photographer, fourth trimester recharge, baby moon part 2, nothing fancy. The top cell said, "Target goal, $38,000 with a little fireworks emoji." I didn't know you could budget emotions that way. Group chat exploded. "Mom, our girl deserves the world." "Nate, we got this team." "Aunt Joy, I can get balloons." "Dad, what's a fourth trimester recharge?" I sent two things right away that I wanted to give regardless of anyone else: a year of diapers and a 6-month meal plan from a local service that delivers actual food. Practical, not performative. Tessa sent 3 pink hearts and "You're the best," then texted privately asking if I could also handle the venue deposit because Mom got overwhelmed with choices. It was $1,200. I paid it. I didn't tell anyone. I told myself it was my way of avoiding chaos. A week later, she asked if I could front the doula retainer because insurance is being weird and it's time sensitive. It was $2,500. I asked for an invoice. She sent a screenshot with paid stamped across it and said, "I'll send you the routing." I wired it to the doula because I'm not new. Then came the $10,000 ask. "We had to move the maternity leave up because of some stuff with my job," Tessa said. "Nate's hours got cut. We're drowning." I hate asking. Please don't make me. But I'm asking. She cried. I stared at my budget and at the line labeled house down payment. Spring, and felt an ache I didn't want to examine. I said yes. I wired the money, sent a picture of the confirmation, and wrote, "For whatever you need, no strings." She wrote back 20 heart emojis and, "You're my angel." A week later at the shower, she held up my envelope and said, "Thanks for the empty envelope," and told me to cover the cake. People laughed. "He's so serious," someone said. "He'll survive," someone else murmured. Mom leaned over to an aunt and said, "He just needs to loosen up." I pretended none of it was a stone thrown directly at my chest. After the cake comment, Tessa texted me from across the room. "Pick up 3 p.m. Balance $820. They said your card declined?" Then a winking face. I hadn't given the cake place my card. I hadn't agreed to buy the cake. I stared at the message until the letters looked like lies. I walked to the bathroom and sat on the closed toilet lid and looked at myself in the mirror. I looked like someone who could be counted on. I looked like a person with a wallet and a calm face and a necktie I'd bought on sale in 3 colors because I'm practical. I looked like an ATM with a heartbeat. I scrolled through my texts. There it was a month earlier. Venue deposit? Doula retainer? Last second chair upgrade? Photographer charges extra for raw files. Can you just? The asks didn't feel like asks anymore. They felt like an order history. I didn't call anyone from that bathroom. I washed my hands and went back out and moved chairs. When the party ended, I loaded decorations into my trunk while Mom told me how hilarious Tessa had been. Nate slapped my shoulder and said, "We couldn't do this without you." He meant it as a thank you. It felt like a diagnosis. That night, I drove home with the radio off. The city moved like it always does. I could feel the decision forming the way a storm forms on a map, pressure dropping, lines tightening. I sat at my kitchen table, opened my laptop, and opened a folder I'd never named but had always had. It was called Lines. Inside were 3 documents I'd once written in a fit of clarity and then ignored: family loans, terms, gifts, policy for me, and things I won't do again. I read them like they were news. Then I texted my friend Mara, who is an attorney and who once told me, "You're allowed to be decent and have a spine." She wrote back, "You busy tonight?" I wrote, "No." She wrote, "Come by at 8. Bring receipts, literal and figurative." Mara's office looks like a habit. Neat stacks, good pens, one framed photo of her dog wearing a tie. She poured me water and said, "Tell me without apologizing." I tried. I failed. I apologized. She raised an eyebrow, and I got to the point. I showed her the wires: $1,200 venue deposit, $2,500 doula retainer, $10,000 personal gift. I showed her the diaper subscription and the meal plan confirmation and the text that said card declined for a cake I'd never agreed to buy. I showed her the empty envelope, line in a screenshot captured by a cousin for Instagram stories with a laughing emoji sticker floating over my face. Mara read, then leaned back. "Okay," she said. "You gave a gift. You paid vendors directly for 2 items. You're not asking to claw those back because you meant them. But you are done being conscripted." "Yes," I said. She tapped her pen. "You also told me earlier about the times they've used your name for accounts. Your father put you as a guarantor once. Your sister almost had you co-sign something last year, and you stopped it. You have a paper backbone. You just forget to show it in real time." I nodded. "Fine," she said. "We'll do real time. You want to say no at the source and stop the drip. That means email. That means vendors. That means a boundary you can't be argued out of. And since you work in ops, you'll appreciate this. We're going to document." She dictated while I typed. A short statement I could send to any vendor Tessa or Mom had told that Caleb is handling payment. It read, "Hello. I'm writing to clarify that I am not responsible for any remaining balance for service on date for client. I will not be providing payment information, and any prior assumptions to the contrary were made without my consent. Please remove my name as a guarantor/bill to contact. Thank you." No commentary, she said. No backstory. Vendors don't care about feelings. They care about who's paying. Next, an email to Tessa and Mom. "Going forward, I won't be covering additional costs for the shower, birth, or related events. I've already contributed list and a $10,000 personal gift for baby expenses. Please do not put my name down for any vendor or bill. If someone already did, change it." Mara watched me breathe. "Expect rage," she said. "Expect you're dramatic. Expect a drive-by at your door. Also expect relief. Not theirs. Yours." "What about the cake?" I asked, almost joking. "Now you're funny," she said. "Send the vendor note." "What about the doula and venue I already paid?" I asked. "Do I tell them not to contact me?" Yes. We made a list. It looked like a plan. It felt like a rope. On my way home, I stopped 2 blocks early and walked. I needed to move my legs before I moved the rest of my life. When I got to my building, I took the stairs. At my kitchen table, I opened a new email, took a breath, and copied the first template to the cake place. Then the photographer. Then the chair rental company. Then the floors someone had looped me into without my knowledge. Then the venue, just to reiterate. Deposit paid, balance not my problem. I sent the vendor notes. My hands were steady. I copied the second template to Mom and Tessa. I read it twice. I didn't soften the edges. I pressed send. Then I did 2 more things. 1. I logged into my bank and removed my card from the family grocery app and the cloud wallet that had once been convenient. I also removed Tessa from the diaper and meal subscriptions. The services were paid for the year and in my name, and they could list their own addresses if they wanted the deliveries. I updated it to ship to my place first, because I know how packages disappear at their building. I dropped them off on my schedule. Period. 2. I used the document in the lines folder titled Family Loans, Terms. It was simple. Any family loan had to have a written amount, a date, and a repayment plan, or it wasn't happening. No more just until Friday. The next time anyone asked me for money, I'd send that PDF and wait. I attached it to a new email to myself, CC'd my future self, and labeled it Use This. I sat back. The apartment was quiet. Outside, a siren wailed and then stopped. I washed a mug I hadn't dirted. My phone buzzed. Tessa, incoming. LOL, if this is about the envelope, I was obviously joking. Then, you need therapy for your control issues. Then, send the cake money and stop being weird. I didn't reply. 10 minutes later, Mom says you're making her heart race. Then Mom, I don't know what you sent to vendors, but they're emailing me. Call me now. Then, cake canceled? Then, don't you dare ruin this. Ruin what? I said to my kitchen. Your unlimited card? The phone rang and rang. Alex, my neighbor Alex, not my husband. I live alone. Texted, everything okay? Heard a sprint of buzzing. I wrote back, family. I'm fine. He wrote a thumbs up and a ramen emoji. I ate cereal out of a measuring cup and watched a show with subtitles because noise felt like a lot. At 11:07 p.m., I sent a final email to Mara, confirmed. Proceed as discussed. It wasn't dramatic. It was administrative. She replied, proud of you. Sleep. I slept in pieces. In the morning, I had 53 missed calls, 19 voicemails, and 1 text from Tessa at 2:14 a.m. Again, LOL, if this is about yesterday. I was obviously joking, followed by a crying, laughing emoji and a heart. At 8:03 a.m., there was a knock on my door. I didn't open it. Whoever it was knocked again, then texted, Mom, open the door. Dad, let us in. Tessa, are you serious? I put on coffee, sat at the table, and looked at the clock. 8:06. Work in 54 minutes. I listened to my own breath and not the door. The knock stopped. My phone buzzed. Aunt Joy, your mother is crying. You scared the vendors. This is tacky. Uncle Ray, call your father. Nate, bro, be reasonable. Cousin Lena, the only one who ever asks if I'm okay, do you need a place to hide or snacks? Also, Tessa is posting a lot. I opened Instagram against my better judgment. Tessa had posted a story, a black screen with text. Imagine ruining your sister's baby shower over cake. Some people are sick. The next slide was a boomerang of a champagne cork popping at the shower with the captions memories, and we still had fun, and haters gonna hate. My face hovered in the corner of one frame, blurred. I put down my phone. I wrote 3 sticky notes and stuck them to my laptop. Do not defend facts that don't need defending. No phone calls. Email only. You are allowed to hang up. At 9 o'clock, I logged into work. For an hour, I answered emails about pallet counts and a vendor who kept calling our AP contact babe. The normalness felt like a weighted blanket. At 10:15, my boss slacked me. Everything good? I wrote, family stuff. I'm drawing a line. He wrote back a rock emoji. I laughed out loud. At lunch, I called Grandpa. He's the only one who talks like a person when money shows up. He listened while I told him the short version. I'm sorry they made a mess, he said. Did you do anything you can't live with? No, I said. Then don't. He cleared his throat. You know your grandmother, God rest her, used to put cash in coffee cans. Labeled them. Roof, food, fun. She used to say, if someone steals a can, that's on them, but don't keep the cans on the porch. You've been keeping your cans on the porch, son. I moved them, I said. Good, he said. Eat lunch. At 2 o'clock, Mara emailed me copies of the vendor replies. The cake place. Thanks for the clarification. Balance has been reassigned. The photographer removed you as bill 2. No problem. The chair company understood. We'll need another card today to avoid cancellation. The doula, congratulations to your family. Your retainer remains applied. We will communicate only with the birthing client. The florist, we've updated the file. The venue, we showed deposit paid. Balance due by end of day from client of record. Failure to pay will result in downgrade to the smaller room per contract. It read like a weather report changing. At 3:12, Mom left me a voicemail, voice raw. I don't recognize you. Your sister is 8 months pregnant and you're making her cry. You think you're better because you have money. You get off on control. Click. At 3:14, Tessa. They downgraded our room because you scared them. You are evil. At 3:15, I hope you never have kids. At 3:20, what do you even do with your life besides hoard it? At 4 o'clock, I wrote 2 emails. One to Mom and Dad. I won't discuss this by phone. I'm not responsible for the shower costs you agreed to with vendors. I've already contributed diapers for a year, a 6-month meal plan, the venue deposit, the doula retainer, and a $10,000 personal gift for the baby. I won't be providing additional funds. Do not put my name on bills. And one to Tessa. I love you. I will be an uncle who shows up. I will not be a wallet you hold over a trash can and shake. My gift stands. My boundaries stand. Please stop contacting me if you're only going to insult me. We can talk after the baby is here about how to have a relationship that doesn't involve invoices. I hit send. I put my phone face down. I stirred soup I didn't want and ate it standing up. That night, Dad texted a photo of the smaller room with a comment. Proud of your choices? I typed and deleted a dozen times. Then I responded with my new script. I won't discuss money by text. He wrote back. It's not about money. It's about family. I didn't reply. 10 seconds later, you're throwing away your sister. I powered off my phone. The weekend was quiet in a way that made my skin itch. I cleaned my car. I shredded a stack of pre-approved credit offers like the act itself was a ritual. I took a long walk and saw 3 dogs, 2 kids in Spider-Man shirts, and one hand-lettered sign outside a church that read, "Let your yes be yes and your no be no." I laughed like I'd been caught copying. On Sunday afternoon, Aunt Joy sent a long message about grace and grace again and how we don't sue each other, which I ignored because no one had used the word yet except family in their own heads. Tessa posted a photo of her bump with a caption about keeping my circle small. The comments were a mess. I did not read them. Monday morning, Mara emailed. Anything further from them? I wrote, just noise. She wrote, good. Noise dies if you don't clap. I taped that above my desk too. By Thursday, the text had slowed to a trickle. A cousin sent me a photo of a newborn onesie and wrote, pick this one or this one for your present to bring to the hospital. I chose one with tiny moons. I clicked by myself. I didn't send a link for someone else to choose. At the end of the week, the chair company texted my sister's number in a screenshot Tessa forwarded me without comment. Balance still unpaid. Reservation will be released. 2 hours later, Mom posted a story of herself piping frosting onto a Costco sheet cake. Caption, real moms make it work. I put my phone down and watered the plant that refuses to die. It looked better than it has in years. 6 weeks later, the baby arrived. Nate's text was simple. She's here. 7 pounds 4 ounces. No ask, no bill. At the hospital, Tessa cried. I was mean. You were, I said. And I was clear. I'll show up with love, not card numbers. Mom hovered. Dad lingered. Nate smiled. No one said cake. Watching the baby breathe, I knew. Boundary and love can fit in one room. At home, I wrote my rules. No money I won't see again. No bills I didn't open. No peacekeeping is love. I framed them with one more. Family is not a bank. Now I drop meals, hold the baby, and say no to money with the same voice I say yes to time. This isn't revenge. It's closure. And I'm good.